How's it going, guys? Been a while since I used the old whiteboard, but today it's going to come in handy because we're going to talk about and show you how to calculate your own calories and macros for losing body fat, okay? So if you want to lose body fat, not just lose scale weight, tone up, get lean, transform your body, have a listen to this, do the calculations, and you can get started, okay? Remember, this is a guideline, this is a starting point, all right? You may look at it and think, well, that's not right, that's not what I've been told. It's just a guideline and a starting point. It's not gonna be your calories forever. It's not gonna be your calories probably for the whole amount of time that you're trying to lose body fat, okay? This is why you follow the guidelines, you have a starting point, and you track your progress over time so you can make changes accordingly, all right? Everyone clear on that? Good. So, there's quite a few ways to work out your calories, and these can look quite complex on paper. They're actually not, but I'm going to stick with a very simple way because that's what I like to do, and you guys will hopefully understand easier. So, body weight. Whenever I refer to body weight in this, I'm going to talk about body weight in pounds. If you work in kilos, 1 kilo times 2.2 will give you pounds, okay? But I'm going to work in pounds because this is just what the calculations are. So, if you're a female, you want to get your calories first. If you're a male, you want to get your calories first. But if you're a female, we're going to do this, okay? You're going to take your body weight in pounds and multiply it by 12, all right? If you're a male, we're going to take your body weight, that's a 3, and multiply it by 13, okay? Males can normally handle a bit more food. Now, you may think this is quite high. I'm going to touch on that near the end of this video. Let's not jump the gun yet, okay? This is the upper limits. Yes, you may have seen 10, 11, 12. But again, we'll touch on that at the end of the video. So a very simple equation here. So let's do some examples, all right? We have our female. Let's call her Jane. I don't know why, but let's call her Jane. Jane weighs 160 pounds. Times 12. Her starting calories would then be 1,920. All right? Let's take our guy. We'll call him Mick. Or Mike. No, Mick. No difference. Sorry, Mix. 200 pounds he's going to weigh. Times 13, 2,600 calories, okay? Starting point for Jane, starting point for Mick. Put in your weight, work out your starting calories, okay? Next thing, protein. Protein. Now, a general aim, especially with fat loss, want to aim for about 1 gram per pound of body weight. 1 gram per lbs of body weight. So very simply, Jane weighs 160 pounds. She should aim for roughly 160 grams of protein. Mick weighs 200. So guess what? He should aim for 200 grams of protein. Give or take, okay? If they're like 20, 30 grams lower, it's not the end of the world. If they're a bit higher, it doesn't matter either, okay? You want a higher protein diet, especially in fat loss, because it's going to keep you more full, which is obviously useful if you're in a calorie deficit, which you should be for fat loss. And especially if you actually want to, as I said at the beginning, get lean, keep muscle mass, look good in the mirror, you're going to want a high protein diet, okay? Now, this is where it might get a bit complicated. Protein has 4 calories per gram, okay? Protein, 4 calories per gram. So, let's take the example of Mick, because I can't do the maths for the female. 200 grams of protein, let's say, eats, will be 800 calories. That makes sense? 200 grams of protein times 4 is 800. That's his total, 2,600. So 800 of this, 800, will be protein, okay? That leaves 1,800 calories for carbs and fats, okay? Unless you're an athlete, unless you're someone trying to get super lean, maybe you are, the amount of carbs and fats you eat doesn't matter. It's down to you, it's personal preference. As long as these numbers, because these are your calorie deficit numbers, this is a calorie deficit, okay? As long as these numbers stay the same, it doesn't matter what your carbs and fats are, all right? I'm gonna repeat that last bit. Mick, 800 calories are from protein because he's eating 200 grams times 4. He then has, out of this total left, 1,800 for carbs and fats, okay? Doesn't matter the exact amount, as long as, obviously, you get some of both. And his total calories is 2,600, and he eats roughly 200 grams of protein. So if you're using something like MyFitnessPal, which I do advise, okay, you have to put the percentages in just to set your goals. But set your goal to wherever you've worked out. Set your protein goal roughly. And the other percentages, yes, you have to set them. But don't worry so much about if you hit them exact or not. Because, again, the exact amount of carbs and fats don't matter. You may work better off higher carbs, lower fats. You may work better off higher fats, lower carbs. You may work better off a mixture of both. Again, it doesn't matter, all right? So we're going to keep that there, leave that there. We're working out calories and protein. That's going to help you get started. Now, back to the question, which I'm sure a lot of you have, which I mentioned at the start. Sam, seems way too high for my body weight, okay? Now, as I said, this is a guideline, okay? If you really want, you can take this down to 11, and you can take this down to 12. But this is the most important thing, and this is what I do with my clients. Think about it. I want to start someone eating as much as possible while losing body fat. Now, I'm also going under the assumption here that you're training. If you're not doing any exercise, this whole thing isn't relevant to you, okay? But let's assume you're actually training 3 times a week. You get some steps in. Even if you're just starting, fine. You want to try and eat as much as possible while losing body fat for a couple of reasons. Firstly, life's going to be a bit more, well, I don't say easier, but this whole process, most likely you're not going to fail as quickly because you're eating more food. And we all love food, so why would you not want to eat more food? But the second point, let's say this is week 1, okay? Now let's say Jane does this week 1, she's eating 1,920 calories, she loses body fat for the first 2 weeks. For the first 4 weeks, carry on. She's now lost, by the end of the first 4 weeks, let's say 4 kilos, 8 pounds, okay? Now, her body weight is different, isn't it? And she's kind of not stuck, but her body has different requirements. What do we have to do? We're going to have to take this down slightly. Now, the exact amount is individual dependent. I don't know because I don't know your results. But if we now have to take this down, let's say to 1,700 calories, that's still quite doable. Nothing too bad, all right? If Jane started super low and let's say did her body weight times 10 on 1,600 calories, after the first month, she'd then have to take it down to 1,400. Okay, maybe not the end of the world. But then what happens again? 1,200? A few more weeks, what? 1,000? What after that? 800? Eventually, you just eat nothing, okay? You're just living off poverty calories. So this is why you want to start your calories as high as possible. Think about it. If you can lose body fat from eating as much food as possible, that's brilliant, isn't it, okay? That should be the goal for everyone, all right? So I hope all this helps. I know a bit of a longer video, but a bit of an explanation. I'm going to try and get the whiteboard out a bit more often. I say out, it's permanently stuck on the wall, much to the annoyance of my wife. And I don't want to take it down because I'm going to strip the paint off. But we'll worry about that when we leave. For now, I'm going to use it for more things like this. I'm sure there's plenty of questions on this video. Drop them in the comments below. And we'll answer and probably do a follow-up video at some point. All right, guys, hope this helps. Take it easy.